Hello, my dear students. I am Sunira from Department of Physics, Government College, Madapalli. Today, we will discuss about impedance and energy flux. This is a part of your BSc Physics syllabus, second semester, fourth module of mechanics paper. In our previous lectures, we found that a continuous medium is characterized by the two parameters. They are the return force and the inertia. The competition between these two terms leads to the oscillatory behavior of the system. Normally, any general harmonic motion can be obtained by the interaction of these two terms, that is, the return force and the inertia. There are so many systems in which you can see oscillatory nature. Here listing 4 examples. One of them is a continuous string. In the case of a stretched string, the equilibrium tension T0 is act as the return force. The mass density is act as inertia. Similarly, as a second example, consider a low-pass transmission line. In this case also, we have already learned the transmission line system. In this case, the inverse shunt capacitance per unit length acts as the return force and inductance per unit length plays the role of inertia. The third example is a longitudinal wave on a spring. In this case, the spring constant times the equilibrium length of the spring acts as the return force. Here, the linear mass density, that is, the mass per unit length, acts as the inertia of the system. The fourth example is sound waves. In this case, gamma rho 0. As all of you know, gamma represents the ratio of the specific heat at constant pressure to the specific heat at constant volume. Similarly, the volume mass density rho 0 plays the role of inertia in the case of sound waves. Now, we can check how this competition leads to the oscillatory behavior of a system. For that, suppose a system starts with a displacement y and velocity 0. Then the return force tries to nullify the displacement. The return force tries to reverse the system, that is to nullify the displacement. This induces a velocity in the opposite direction. But inertia does not allow the velocity to increase. So the displacement increases. Again, the return force tries to restore the displacement back to 0, but the inertia changes the displacement. These two competitions, that is the return force and the inertia competing each other, the system oscillates. So, standing wave modes in a medium behave just like simple harmonic oscillators. In this case, the competition between the return force and inertia produces standing wave modes. And in the case of traveling waves, they behave completely differently. They transport energy and momentum from one point to another. In this case, the phase relations are completely different from standing waves. So, a medium which carrying traveling waves doesn't behave like a harmonic oscillator. That is, the traveling waves are characterized by the phase velocity and the impedance. In our previous slides, we see that a continuous system is characterized by two parameters, the return force and the inertia. At the same time, if it is a traveling wave, it is characterized by two parameters. They are the phase velocity and the impedance. The phase velocity for a transverse wave is a string is given by v phi equal to root of T0 by rho 0. This equation is already we derived in our previous class. At the same time, this term v phi equal to root T0 by rho 0 is a combination of return force and the inertia. In the case of a string, we know that the return force is represented by the equilibrium tension, which is T0, and the inertia is given by volume density. So, it is represented by rho 0. The ratio between the return force and the inertia gives the phase velocity. Similarly, the product between the return force and the inertia gives the characteristic impedance of the traveling wave. So, a traveling wave is characterized by the phase velocity and the impedance. In these two parameters, there is a different types of relationship between the return force and the inertia. In the first case, for the phase velocity, the return force by inertia proportional to root of the return force by inertia. At the same time, in the case of impedance, it is square root of the return force into inertia. Now we can discuss different systems. As a first example, consider a transverse traveling wave which is passing through a string. Now consider a string, continuous string stretching from left to right with left end at z equal to 0. The string is driven transversely by harmonically oscillating force. Because of this force, the string oscillates. There is a transverse traveling wave propagating through the string. Here, the force acting along the z direction, and it is the equilibrium tension T0. The mass density of the string is represented by rho 0. Now you can see the figure. In that figure we show a stretched string. This figure represents the equilibrium position of the string. As all of you know, its left end starts with z equal to 0 and the tension is along the z direction. The perpendicular axis is shown as x. At equilibrium, there is no transverse component of force on the left end as shown in the figure. So we can see that in this figure, the force is along the z direction because it is the equilibrium tension. At the same time, when the system oscillates, the tension, the string tension is represented by capital T, which is shown in the figure. In this figure, you can see that the capital T make an angle theta with its equilibrium position, equilibrium T0. So now there is a transverse component for the force F. Here the psi 0t represents the displacement of the string. The transverse component of the force exerted by the string, that is exerted by the reaction force, is given by Fx equal to T sin theta. As all of you know, we consider xz plane. The tension, equilibrium tension, is acting along the z direction. Its corresponding perpendicular direction is represented by x-axis. So the force along x-axis is represented by Fx. This Fx is equal to T sin theta. The previous figure itself, you can see that by splitting the tension T along the horizontal and vertical components, the vertical component is equal to T sin theta, which you can see in this figure also, in this slide also. Now we can rewrite this expression as T cos theta into sin theta by cos theta. And so T cos theta represents T0, the equilibrium tension. So T0 tan theta. From this figure, you can see that the slope delta psi by delta z, as delta z tends to 0, represents dou psi by dou z. That is equal to tan theta. So for small angles of theta, T0 tan theta equal to T0 dou psi by dou z. Equation 3 holds for any spring for small angles theta. Now we can think about the characteristic impedance. Suppose a traveling wave propagating along z direction plus z direction, then psi z of t has the form a cos omega t minus kz, because we harmonically driven the string, and so the harmonic wave is represented by this expression, equation 4. Now you can differentiate this expression with respect to z. So partial derivative dou psi by dou z. So in order to take the partial derivative, you have to treat the other variable as a constant. So by differentiating equation 4, by treating t as another constant with respect to z, you can differentiate equation 4. So you get minus k minus a sin omega t minus kz. So there are two minus, they mutually cancels out, and so you get ka sin omega t minus kz, which is equation 5. Now you can do the same thing, but this time with respect to t. So you get dou psi by dou t equal to minus omega a sin omega t minus kz. Now you can insert this equation into the equation 5, which will give you dou psi by dou z equal to minus k by omega dou psi by dou t, which is equal to minus 1 by v phi dou psi by dou t. So we can substitute equation 7 in 3, from which we get the transverse component of the reaction force or return force, that is Fx equal to minus T0 by V phi into dou psi by dou t. Dou psi by dou t is the transverse velocity of the string at z equal to 0. That is, the transverse velocity of the string at the left end represents dou psi by dou t. Now from the above equation, we can see that the reaction force is negatively proportional to the transverse velocity of the string. That is, the reaction force is a damping force or drag force. If a transmitter emits traveling waves, the string or the medium opposes the motion of the string with a force which is negatively proportional to the velocity that is imposed on it. So, the proportionality constant is called the characteristic impedance Z. Now, we can substitute all these in equation. The reaction force in terms of the characteristic impedance is given by Fx equal to minus Z dou psi by dou t. Here the impedance Z equal to T0 by V phi. For a transverse wave on a continuous string, we have V phi equal to root of T0 by rho 0 and the impedance equal to T0 by V phi, which is equal to root of T0 into rho 0. So, the damping force either dissipates energy or absorbs it. The string absorbs energy in the form of radiation by the transmitter output, but there is no heat loss. This energy is transmitted through the string to the receiver. So, the output power is given by the product of the transverse force exerted by the transmitter on the string at z equal to 0 times the transverse velocity of the string at the instant. The transverse force exerted by the transmitter is the negative of the reaction force by Newton's third law. The instantaneous power output is given by minus f of x dou psi by dou t. This result is a general result. For traveling waves, the power P of t is given by z dou psi by dou psi by dou t or z into dou psi by dou t whole square. Here Z represents the impedance of the system. Similarly, we can express the power P in terms of dou psi by dou z. In this case, the power is given by minus T0 dou psi by dou z into dou psi by dou t, and changing the equation to dou psi by dou z, we get the power P equal to 1 by z into minus T0 dou psi by dou z whole square. So, the power of the system can be expressed in two ways. The first one in terms of dou psi by dou t and the second one in terms of dou psi by dou z. How the energy transport happens in this system. Here we already assumed that there is an transmitter at z equal to 0. An emitter emits the energy and this energy is transmitted to the string through the string. So the amount of energy per unit time traveled in the plus z direction is equal to the energy emitted by the transmitter at z equal to 0. Here we assume that there is no damping in the system. In this case, the power or the energy transported through the system is given by impedance into dou psi by dou t whole square, or 1 by z into minus T0 dou psi by dou z whole square. There are too many analogous systems whose analysis can be done in the same manner. Two of them given here. The first one is sound waves. In this case, the return force is gauge pressure, and longitudinal air velocity plays the role of transverse velocity. Similarly, the second example is electromagnetic radiation. In this case, the transverse electric field acts as the return force, whereas the transverse magnetic field plays the role of transverse velocity. Now we can discuss about our second example. In this case, a longitudinal wave on a spring. Suppose the emission of longitudinal waves of compression and rarefaction happens on a spring. Here we assume identical springs with spring constant K and equilibrium length A. They are coupled each other and form a continuous system. The equilibrium position and the general configuration are shown in the next figure. Here we can see the figure A, which gives you the equilibrium structure. In this case, the capital K represents spring constant and small a represents equilibrium length. The longitudinal wave propagates along z direction. The figure B represents the general configuration of the system. So there is a displacement from the equilibrium position to the position z. This displacement is represented here as psi 0, psi 1, etc. Psi of zt, the displacement of the spring from its equilibrium position of that part of the spring having equilibrium position at z. The displacement is positive if it is in the plus z direction, and its corresponding velocity is given by dou psi by dou t. Here Ka plays the role of T0 in the case of the transverse waves on a string. So replacing T0 in the previous expressions of phase velocity and impedance, we get the phase velocity and impedance of longitudinal waves on a spring. The phase velocity v phi equal to root of Ka by rho 0, and the impedance z equal to root of Ka rho 0. The power flow is given by capital Z into dou psi by dou t whole square. This is equal to 1 by z into minus Ka dou psi by dou z whole square. As a third example, think about sound waves. We have already analyzed sound waves using Newton's method. The analysis was done based on mechanical analogy with the longitudinal waves on a continuous spring. So, the linear mass density ρ0 for the spring is replaced with the volume mass density ρv for the air. Now, the figure A represents the equilibrium position of the air and figure B represents the general configuration of the system of the air. Then here also you can see the displacement psi 0 t. The wave is propagating along z direction. Now replacing Ka for the spring by the equilibrium pressure P0 for air times gamma. As all of you know, gamma is the ratio of specific heat at constant pressure to specific heat at constant volume. So, the phase velocity V phi equal to root of gamma P0 by rho V and the impedance Z equal to root of gamma P0 rho V. The displacement of a bit of air along z direction from its equilibrium position is represented by psi z of t. The corresponding velocity is given by dou psi by dou t. Here the power flow is given by capital Z into dou psi by dou t whole square, and this is equal to 1 by capital Z into minus gamma P0 dou psi by dou z whole square. The term minus gamma P0 dou psi by dou z is called the gauge pressure Pg. At STP, atmospheric pressure P0 and rho V is 1.29 into 10 raised to minus 3 gram per centimeter cube. Substituting all these, we get V phi as 3.32 into 10 raised to 4 centimeter per second, and the impedance Z is equal to 428 Newton per meter square per meter per second. The intensity of a traveling wave is defined as the energy propagating through a unit area per unit time. In the case of a sound, the common standard is set as I0, which is given by 1 microwatt. That means 1 microwatt per centimeter square, which is equal to 10 raised to minus 2 joule per meter square. The average sound intensity is the standard intensity, which is I0, that is 10 raised to minus 2 joule per meter square. If a man shouts as loud as he can, the intensity is about 100 I0. If intensity is greater than 100 I0, the listener feels pain. If the intensity is faintest sound, then it depends on its frequency. That means for a 440 Hz frequency, the average threshold audibility is 10 raised to minus 10 I0. From all these discussions, we can find out that our ear has very huge dynamic range. That is, it is a factor of 10 raised to 12 in intensity from very large loud sound 100 I0 to faintest sound 10 raised to minus 10 I0. If the intensity is increased by a factor of 10, it is said to have increased by 1 bell. In terms of bell, the dynamic range of the human ear is about 12 bells. The intensity increases by a factor of 10 raised to 0.1. It has increased by 0.1 bell or 1 decibel. That is 1 decibel, which is equal to 1 dB. That is equal to factor of 10 raised to 0.1. That is equal to factor of 1.26 in intensity. Similarly, 1 bell equal to 10 dB. That is, it is a factor of 10 in intensity. A person with normal hearing cannot detect an increase of loudness of about 1 dB. 10 watts of audio output is common in hi-fi sets. This all gives you a practical idea of how the sound intensity affects our life. In this lecture, we learned about traveling waves and the main parameters of the system, phase velocity and the impedance. We learned three systems. One is continuous string, transverse waves on a continuous string. Second one, longitudinal waves on a spring. Third one, sound. These three systems we have discussed in this lecture. So you have to learn all these things very well and compare these three systems, how the phase velocity, similarly the impedance and the power or the intensity can be calculated. After you listen all these lectures very well, you can try to answer the next slide's assignments. If you get the answer properly, you can make sure that you learned everything very well. Thank you.